Clyde, do you know what the merged tribe name is?
I saw it, and I don't think I wrote it down. Is it Nui Nui, or is that a previous merged tribe name?
That is a previous merged tribe, I believe. The merged tribe name is Lewatu.
Oh, okay. What is that?
It means family. Just kidding. Welcome to Survivor Analytics, the show where we talk about Survivor. I'm the voice of the people. My name's Jack. With me, as always, the true expert who doesn't know what Lewatu means. Say hi, Clyde.
What's up, party people? Wait, what does Lewatu mean then, if it's not family?
Strongest woman in the village. And here's the thing. Lou Sophie told the tribe that it meant family. They said, great, that's our tribe name. And secretly, she was saying, no, our tribe name is strongest woman in the village. She's building herself up secretly.
Wait, did she say that in the episode? How did you find that out?
I saw it on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And I'm, to be clear, I'm not on Twitter. I Googled the tribe name to get the translation and found the third result when you Google Lewatu is Soph saying our merged tribe name actually means strongest woman in the village. I lied and said it means family, so everyone would go along with it. I love strong women in Survivor. Hashtag Survivor49.
Oh, okay, that's great. I like a sneaky tribe name like that.
She only tweeted that 5 hours ago, so this is breaking news.
Thank you, Jack. What did you think about this one? This was Rizgod's episode.
Had me nervous. I think, can I give you we're back. Put on the tinfoil, Grandma. We're back in conspiracy land. Production saved Rizzo in this episode.
With the Savannah twist, or how did production save him?
Production saved Rizzo because there was a delay between when Savannah won her advantage and got her advantage that allowed production to decide what it would be. And they decided to send her to the tribe and give Rizzo an ally, and that shifted the balance and helped him.
I did not expect you to come in with that take. I thought you'd be defending Rizzo to the bitter end. I wouldn't go that far.
Listen, I love RIZGOD, but his trust this episode had me nervous. It's crazy how when you care about a player, you're nervous. I kind of forgot that emotion a little bit, and I was nervous in this tribal council because I did not want to lose Rizzo.
Who was the last player that you got nervous for when you watched?
I don't remember.
It's been that long. Probably Suri on Panama. You probably got a little bit nervous for her, but she was never in serious danger.
There was never a tribal where she was in serious danger. If she had been, I think Suri probably would have been the last. But man, how did you feel about this one? Because I'm full tinfoil hat, but
I like this one. I don't think I'm as high on it as the general Survivor fan base. I saw some people online saying that this was the best episode of Survivor since Operation Italy that we covered last year. Nah. I think Operation Italy is a way more entertaining tribal council than this one.
This was too messy for that. Italy was clean. This was all over the place.
It was all over the place, which I'm okay with if the strategy's just very complex. But I don't think I'm as high on it because there's this over-looming production interference with it all. We had a split tribal and Savannah entering that tribe all at the same time. So yes, it was high stakes, but it didn't feel, I don't know, I guess as authentic as your traditional Survivor vote was.
Yeah, there was so much going on that the actual tactics of it don't feel, they're not at the front, right? The tactics are reactionary to all of the environmental stuff that production has put in. Would you say that's fair? Yeah.
I think that's fair. But with that said, I wouldn't claim that Rizzo was saved by production. I think he had set himself up to survive that tribal council regardless. But we'll be diving into all that later on. I'm good to just start right from the top. After the tribal council last week, Nate was just voted out. And the storyline entering this one is that there's 3 people on the bottom: Rizzo, Savannah, and Sophie. Note, the storyline here is not Hina has control. It's, look at these underdogs. Don't we feel bad for them? Savannah's going on an apology tour.
What happened to the it's a war, Uli versus Hina? It's funny how quick that's been erased, right? That's just disappeared from the narrative entirely. Time will tell, right? But the bias towards Savannah and Rizzo is blatant. It's a war when they're in control, and they're the underdogs when they're not, right?
Yeah.
and they're certainly on the bottom, right, going into this episode, even though Rizzo has an idol. I also want to add here, and maybe this is part of why the war has evaporated, right, is Jawan is part of the controlling group. So it's not Hina versus Uli. It's this Hina conglomerate with Jawan versus Uli. Jawan says, it's time for revenge. You know, I've been on the bottom this whole time. It's time for revenge. Revenge for what? Like, the bridge you burned with Savannah by putting sticks in her bag? Like nobody's really slighted him at all. So I don't know why he feels like he needs to be exacting revenge.
Well, I think this is Jawan's revenge arc. He was on the bottom of that original Uli tribe. And it's weird that we still don't understand how Jawan came to that realization that he was on the bottom of that group, because that realization has really large implications for the rest of the season moving forward. When it comes to that trio on the bottom, and maybe I'm biased because Rizzo's on my fantasy team, I think that Rizzo's on the bottom primarily because of Savannah's poor social play. I don't know if Rizzo himself has done a lot wrong socially or strategically to deserve that spot. Like, yes, he was left out of the Nate Blind side, but I think people see him as a target, one, because of his idol, and two, because he has this association with Savannah. So they're on the bottom. Edit knocks you over the head with that over and over again for the first 10 minutes. And then we get some information on MC and her idol play. Now, you're a big MC fan, but I think there's an argument that her idol play in the previous tribal council is one of the worst in the entire history of the show.
That's bad.
I think it's really bad.
Okay,
because she plays it in a spot where no votes are cast against her, and by playing it, she loses trust with all of her allies, and she's voted out at the next opportunity. Does it get worse than that? I don't know if it does.
That's a great point. I mean, I love to disagree with you, but... And I certainly don't have the expertise to say if it's, you know, historically bad. And last week I was like, okay, she's playing it to not go home with it in her pocket, right? In hindsight, you know, we get a moment this week where Jawan, Rizzo, various people are discussing. They're saying, hey, who's the biggest threat right now? Who needs to go right now in this episode? And it comes down to Sophie or MC. Sophie with an E, Yellow Sophie, and MC. And the turning point that they find is they say MC has all these connections and Sophie doesn't have any. With that in mind, looking back at MC playing the idol, you go, wait a minute, she has all these connections. She has all these good relationships. Why did she play that idol? She has relationships that are good enough and known enough to be threat-inducing. Why did she play that? Yeah, you know what? It's the worst idol play in the history of the show.
I wouldn't go that far, but I think it's one of the worst that we've at least covered on the podcast.
It's tough to see. Yeah.
The whole reason why I brought it up is because in this early section of the episode, we see a conversation between MC and Jawan, and we then pan to Jawan in confessional saying that, I don't know how much I trust MC because she played that idol at Tribal Council. And I don't necessarily agree with Jawan's philosophy there. I feel like if one of my allies incorrectly plays an idol, yes, that's a sign that they might not trust me completely, but it also means that they might not be the best strategic player, and it increases my chances of getting that idol by going out and searching into the jungle. We hit on those. On the topic of idols, do you want to go to Christina's idol search, or do you have anything from that early section of the episode?
I did want to hit just briefly on the Savannah glazing montage.
Okay.
Which is...
the apology tour? Or
the apology tour, yeah.
Okay.
Which is... I might not be using glazing, right? I'm in my late 20s.
Well, there is a glazing montage, too, where we get the sympathetic Savannah edit, where she's crying in confessional. We get both sides.
I mean the apology tour, because Rizzo pulls Savannah aside and says, look, we're on the bottom. Turn this around. And Savannah goes on this apology tour and goes to, I don't remember. who all. She goes to a lot of people.
She goes to a bunch. Yeah.
And it's very quick. She goes around to everybody. I want to point out that later on, Savannah gets offended that she's being described as a, quote, strategic mastermind. She's like, why am I being singled out and being called a mastermind? She is a very good strategic player. Like, I don't think you can have that cake and eat it too, right? I think you can't recognize you're on the bottom, go on the apology tour, and then be like, wait a minute, why are people recognizing that I'm playing the game, right? Like, it's a little bit too much. But I do want to give RIZGOD RizGod Baby a shout out for recognizing that, and recognizing that without Nate, he needs to play a more fluid game. He is not going to be tethered to Uli going forward, necessarily. If need be, well, let me ask you. Do you think if push came to shove, he would leave Savannah for another alliance?
I think so. I think RizGod is a big enough Survivor fan to realize that this is a game where you need to always be open to different strategic options. He said it this week, quote, "Don't count out your boy just yet." He's a massive fan of the show. He's going to do whatever he needs to get one step further. And even though Savannah is his number one, I don't see a lot of moments in the edit that really explain why they're so close to each other. Like, outside their position on Uli in the early game, it's not like they have this deep connection where they have a similar history. I'm trying to think of something similar. I think back of like Survivor 44, you have that alliance of Jam Jam, Carolyn, and Carson. And we get a bunch of time in the edit dedicated towards those three connecting over how they're kind of perceived as outsiders and weirdos, not just in the game of Survivor, but in the real world. They're these more eccentric personalities. And that's part of the reason why they came together as allies on the island. We don't necessarily have that kind of content in Survivor 49 when it comes to RizGod, Sophie, and Savannah. This feels more like a group that came together by circumstances.
Yes.
Because of Rizzo's perspective on the game, but also the origin of their alliance, I think he'd be willing to flip on her.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's do the idol hunt.
Yeah.
I don't know who said it in our group chat because I didn't catch up on everything from yesterday, but I think somebody called this Kumbaya Survivor.
Yes, it was either Abby or Alexis that said that.
It was an A in my phone. I know that. And so shout out to whichever one of them said it. Classic Kumbaya Survivor here. Christina, Alex, and Steven decide to go out on a group idol hunt, and Christina finds it. I mean, and it's just an idol.
Yeah.
So
and they rush through it.
They really do.
You see the idol hunt.
Which tells me two things. One, Christina's not winning this game.
Oh, we've known that for weeks. This is not new news.
Yeah. And two, this idol will have no impact on the game.
Oh, see, this is where I disagree with you.
Okay.
I think this idol is going to have major implications for the game, but it will be used against Christina. It won't help her at all. Because when Christina finds it, she's not the main character of that segment. Imagine you're Christina,
Alex
you're
is.
out on Fiji, you find the idol, you go back home, and you're so excited for episode 8 because you get to sit with your friends and family and have that victorious moment of holding up the idol in confessional. That saga goes on for 20 seconds for Christina. And then we get 2 minutes of Alex explaining his outlook on the entire situation. And he basically says that I could convince Christina to play it for me, or I could use that information against her. So I'm sitting back and thinking, okay, why is Alex getting all the content here and not Christina? Well, Alex knows Sophie from the Kella tribe. They've been connected since day one, even though they've kind of parted paths in the last 2 weeks. I don't get the sense that they are permanently enemies for the rest of the season. They could work together at some point down the line. So if Alex at some point goes over to Sophie and says, hey, Christina has an idol. Sophie has the knowledge is power. She can straight up steal that thing from Christina and knock out another Hina player.
I hope so.
That's my prediction with that idol moving forward.
Yeah, that's a good take.
So we get Christina's idol, and then the last thing I have to note before the challenge is Savannah and the sympathy edit. A lot of contestants have dogged on Savannah this season. Sage describes her as a mean girl in confessional. Last week, MC said that she's this overly aggressive strategist that dove for the keys. and it's kind of getting to her. We get the crying confessional from Savannah. She tells a very surface-level story about how she was isolated out at work, and Steven listens to her and nods his head, but it doesn't seem to really change Steven's outlook on the game. I think this was meant for the viewer to sympathize with Savannah, but if I'm honest, it didn't really do a lot for me, and I think that's because we were just missing so many details of her story. We needed the flashback footage. I wanted the shots of Savannah in the studio crying with her colleagues in the background. Like, we always do the childhood photo shoots and the flashbacks, but I want to see it for these moments too.
It's clearly something that she is struggling with, right? But it's the sort of thing where it's like, well, there's not going to be a photo of a lost parent. It is a hardship that she's gone through that is upsetting and has given her some difficulty. It is just the nature of it makes it harder to be like, oh, tell me more. And she doesn't want to blow up her career on national television, right?
Yeah.
So even by sharing what she does, she's walking this tightrope of professionalism that's really hard to do. She was in a tough spot by virtue of her own circumstance, right? She can't keep that bottled up the whole time. But letting it out is equally challenging because of the nature of the hard times she's gone through. So, it didn't do a lot for me either, but I think that's less of a ding on Savannah and more of a ding on the circumstance of hey, I'm the coldest. I don't feel anything for a lot of these backstories. But this one I was tough work situation. Fair enough. I hear you. Moving on.
Yeah, it's the circumstance and the edit surrounding it where I felt like we were getting the most surface level explanation possible to fit it in the episode to make us feel something for Savannah and not just agree with the other contestants calling her a mean girl.
Not to be cynical, but to fit it in the edit and make sure Paramount doesn't get sued by somebody who wants something for defamation, right?
Oh, for sure.
There's a definite level of sanitization that has to happen there.
Last thing I'll throw out with Savannah before the challenge is that I think there's now 2 people on this cast who would not vote for her in a final tribal. I think Sage and MC are not voting for Savannah if she makes it to the end.
Why MC?
The key situation last week.
Oh,
it felt like they were just on completely different strategic levels. And I actually watched MC's exit press today as I was driving back from work. I put it in the car radio. And she, after the show, describes Savannah as a mean girl.
Damn.
Not like today, but she said that when she was on the island, that's the vibe that she got from her. So I don't think she's voting for Savannah should she make it to the final tribal.
Fair enough. I mean, that makes me more excited for Savannah on 50, actually. The further she goes towards a villain edit, the better. But, all right, challenge?
Yeah, let's go with the challenge.
Does this have a name, Clyde?
It definitely does. We've seen this one before, right?
Yes, I think we saw it with Eva and Joe. That is quite good.
Okay, the name of the challenge is Chimney Sweep. We last saw this on Survivor 47. It was not on 48. But it's been on a bunch of seasons. We saw it on 44, 47, and now 49.
All right. So, the challenge itself. Chimney sweep. Balance, not balance. Hold yourself up in between 2 walls on increasingly narrow or decreasingly wide footholds. Last person standing wins. But there's a twist this time. 2 teams of 5. Last one standing overall wins an advantage. Last team standing, last team to have somebody around, wins a reward, DIY deli sandwiches, which I'll hate on that in a minute. I'll come back to why I hate that. They also win immunity. So half of the tribe is going to be immune tonight.
And that's ridiculous.
One of those 5 gets an advantage. If you're the last person standing on the other 5, you get nothing. Where I think we've seen this or similar challenges before, where the last person standing on the losing tribe gets something.
Yeah,
right?
They get immunity, typically.
Yeah, lots of problems here. 5 people being immune on day 15, episode 8, that's no bueno.
It's crazy because we're technically merged. Last week, I gave production so much credit. I said they got rid of the mergatory. We're in a true individual stage of the game. And it seems like we had one merge round, then we went back to another tribe swap, which is, our third tribe swap of the season?
Yeah. Can I tell you? I think that goes back to the thing I talked about a few weeks ago about the second screen theory. That you have to make content that's doable for people who aren't paying attention. It's way easier to watch a 5-person tribal than a 10-person tribal.
Yeah, because there's just less going on.
Yeah, and I think production is let's make it simpler. Let's cheapen the game to make it more palatable for people who are playing Candy Crush in 2025.
Their hope too might be that typically in these early merge rounds, you'll see one dominant alliance stick together and vote out a couple of the bottom feeders before they really start to turn on each other. So maybe their idea here is that by including this twist, we're not going to empower the majority to just steamroll until the final 8. We're going to make them do something in this early section of the game. So
that's a positive spin. That's generous. That makes sense. I don't want to be that generous, but
it makes sense. But I just think it's completely ridiculous from a game and fairness perspective. In reality, Rizzo, Savannah, Sophie, they were penalized for literally one round of gameplay. They lost Nate due to their poor social and strategic game, and then they essentially got a free reset button going into this round for doing absolutely nothing.
Also, I hate this reward.
Because it's DIY?
It's DIY. It drives me nuts when Jeff's and your reward? Guess what, guys? You get to make your own sandwiches. I know you're hungry. Don't you want to build them yourself? Why dive right into the meal when you can pick up a knife and spread the mayonnaise yourself? Give them more. If you're going to reward them, just give them the sandwiches made. It's not even a great reward, right? It's not Chili's or Applebee's.
Chili's is the bar. Yeah. Applebee's. Yeah.
We need to bring back product placement. Let's do a DoorDash reward where they get to
pick something off DoorDash.
How good would it be if they were hey, here's a menu. Here's you ready for this? Here's a compelling reward. Hey, all 10 of you pick something off the menu, and for the 5 who win, they get all 10.
Oh, and they get to eat it in front of the other 5.
Yes. Sponsored by DoorDash. Order everything you want to eat in one place. Okay, I'll run through it really
fast. I have a take on the food reward because I disagree with you. I don't think we should be taking steps forward and having the sandwiches prepared. I think we should be taking steps back. Earlier in the season, they gave them just chickens.
Give them a pig and wheat.
Live turkey, meat, and say, make the sandwiches from scratch, from the very beginning stages.
Give them a sourdough starter and a live pig and some mustard seeds.
It's DIY.
Okay, yeah, I'm down for that, but that's for... I think there's another version of Survivor where it's 100 days and they actually have to, become subsistence farmers. That would be really compelling.
That would be interesting. At least that point... It makes more sense when Jeff says you're building a society because you actually need to create some form of agriculture on the island. If you're there for 26 days, that's more of a vacation than a construction of a civilization.
All right, quick rundown. The most interesting things here. A whole bunch of people drop. Soph is saying Hail Marys. She's praying while she's up there in pain, trying to hold herself up. And I want to give props to whoever's doing this edit. This was pretty cold. She's praying quietly underneath the shots of everybody gritting their teeth and trying to hold on.
It fades to black in between each one. It's really good. I thought we were going to get one shot of Shannon.
Who's Shannon?
Shannon is the super spiritual girl that went out 2-3 weeks ago. This was her moment. She didn't make it to this episode. She deserved to be there for the Hail Mary segment.
There's too many S names on this season, man. So that edit was pretty great. It comes down to Savannah versus Sophie with an E. They're up there for 23 minutes. People are yelling at Savannah, think of Brandon. And I was like, who's Brandon? And it turns out Brandon is her boyfriend. Gotta wonder, I didn't check. Are they still together?
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay, good. Savannah wins. winning immunity for herself as well as for Alex, she's Savannah. Alex, Christina, Sophie with an I, and Steven.
Major props to Savannah here. I want to ask you, though, if this was a traditional Final 10 round, does Savannah get voted out here?
I think she's on the bottom, right? She's on the list. There's a chance Rizzo plays his idol for her, right?
Man, that'd be wild. See, I think when I go back and evaluate this season, and let's say Savannah wins, because I think she's one of the top contenders to win the season. I think it'll be her, Rizzo, or Sophie. Maybe Sage. I'll give Sage like a 5% fighter's chance right now. Anyone else on the cast, I'm basically out on at this stage.
I could see a Sage Savannah fire making would be,
That would be great because they're building up this rivalry between the two of them.
Yeah.
But let's say Savannah actually goes on to win the whole thing. She's played a good game so far, but this round will be a knock against her in my book because I think without immunity and you get a traditional Final 10 vote as Savannah probably expected, she goes out in this spot. So I don't think she's in Rachel from 47 levels of immunity dependence, but this still isn't great that she didn't insulate herself well enough socially to just get by this specific round. And she says it herself. When she wins immunity, she tells Jeff, if I lost this and we went to tribal council, I was the one going out.
Yeah, which is a good read, to be fair. Post-challenge, we've got an animal shot. We've got some crazy yellow wasps after the yellow group loses. These are Polistes carnifex, also known as the executioner wasp or executioner paper wasp. They are very large and yellow and brown paper wasps found in South America. They've only been called the executioner wasp for like a decade. They didn't have an English vernacular name until then. In Paraguay, they're known as the hummingbird wasp, or the brown wasp, or the yellow wasp. They've been known to science since the 1700s, but they haven't had a colloquial name in English until the last 15 years. So,
what do they represent? They represent the yellow tribe going to tribal council. What's the connection here? You're halfway there, Jack.
Sometimes I forget that I have to share a connection and I can't just share the fact. The connection is obviously the buzzing wasps nipping at the altar, trying to eat some of the sacrifices to the great, the powerful R-I-Z, G-O-D, Rizgod, baby.
So they're going after Rizgod. Are you good to hop into the pre-tribal council discussions? Because I got nothing with the other group. I don't care what they do for the rest of the episode.
The people at the reward?
Yeah.
I have nothing.
Yeah. They make sandwiches, not from scratch, from a middle stage. So we have this group going to tribal council, and at first, it feels like Rizzo is the top target on the board. But things start to shift away from him through this complicated series of events, where Rizzo's the primary target, and Sophie says, we can go after him, but we should probably throw one vote somewhere else in case he plays his idol. Let's put that vote on Juwan. And she tells that to MC. MC then goes and leaks that information to Juwan himself.
Immediately.
And I think this is the biggest reason why MC is voted out this week. More so than her unsuccessful idol play in the previous episode. I can check right now, but I'm not sure if MC and Juwan have any history of working together on this season. I don't think they've been on the same tribe until the post-merge. I don't think they met until maybe 2 days ago. MC is now throwing an ally under the bus that she knew from day one for this new guy, and I don't really get it. What did you make of that?
I did not understand it. I don't know what she thought was going to happen here. Did she want to completely flip on Sophie?
I think it's not that she wanted to go after Sophie, but she wanted to keep Juwan around. And when I was listening to her post-game press, she gave some level of explanation for it. She referenced back to Survivor 42, where in that season they had a split tribal and a black player was voted out in both split tribal councils. So 2 black players went home in the same episode. And she said that just rubbed her the wrong way. And now they're in a spot where Nate was just voted out last week, and she felt compelled to try to keep the other people of color in the game. So she didn't want to see herself or Juwan go out for that reason.
Yeah.
I think it's a very commendable outlook on the game, and I understand where she's coming from. But at the same time, Juwan is someone that you just don't know. You don't know if he's going to share that same desire in terms of like the outside influences of Survivor. They just met each other.
And in the split tribal, it's a small island, right? It's 5 people plus Savannah here in a minute. You can't leak that and not reasonably expect it to get out. It sounds like that was just kind of tunnel vision on her part. It feels like she didn't think past like helping him out, right? Because that's going to immediately get out. There's nothing you can do in that moment where Sophie's trusted you that won't look like you're trying to play Sophie. And so, I mean, that's no good, I think, even though the intention was commendable. You know, she was trying to be a hero and didn't think about where she was charging in.
She wants to push the target away from Juwan, and that eventually leaks back to Sophie herself, and that causes that Hina alliance to break up. And that's why I think, had Savannah not even rolled up to that beach, I would guess that Rizzo survives the tribal council, because there was just growing dysfunction amidst those Hina players regardless.
Right, because that's the point where Savannah rolls up. They've been blown up. Then Savannah shows up, and all of a sudden, Rizzo has an ally present with him. Rizzo has his idol present with him, and they're looking at this discombobulated group. Rizzo still, by the way, doesn't think he needs to play his idol, though. Savannah's got this extra vote that she can bank. I've got my idol that I don't need to play. Him saying, I've got the idol I don't need to play, is based on trust in Juwan, which is not well placed, but that conversation leads him to say, I'm good.
I think it is well placed. A major reason why Rizzo does not go home this week is because of Juwan's influence over the game. Sophie wanted to knock out Rizzo, MC wanted to knock out Rizzo, and same thing with Sage. All 3 of them could have teamed up and put 3 votes on him, but Juwan was able to sway them in another direction.
But when Juwan and Rizzo have the conversation, where Juwan says, you're good, don't play your idol, he had just said, I'm going after Rizzo and trying to convince him to be safe, right? Yeah. So the moment where Rizzo made that initial read, it was a misread, right? Juwan, there's potential going forward there, but that it's like the first impression there, the first, tipping point was a bluff. This is so messy that I do think there's a lot of wiggle room here. There's a lot of shifting tides, and I think Rizzo, R-I-Z-G-O-D, Rizgod Baby, does deserve... By the way, he hasn't said that at all in a few days. Have you noticed? In Confessional.
It's been like 2 episodes. He said it somewhat recently.
Well, he said it a lot, and then he commented in Confessional that he'd been saying it a lot, and he's dialed it back.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't say it once this episode. I do want to give him his flowers, because with the absolute shit show of these alliances, right, and the mess of this broken up Hina alliance, he does read that well, because when you have an idol and you're not sure, that's a perfect time to play an idol, right? If you can't see through the fog, shoot up the flare. Keep yourself safe. But, so that is a good read on his part. Let me ask you this. You've got power in this group of 6. You're Savannah, you're Rizzo. Who are you going after? Sophie or MC? Or Juwan?
So if I'm Rizzo or Savannah,
or
they
Sage.
Make the right
Sage
call.
Is there too. Like
Sage is there too, but I think at least with Sage, there's a hope that you could go back to the Uli players. I think there's this mutual agreement that the Hinas are off doing their own thing. So if I'm Rizzo or Savannah, I'm narrowing my focus to either MC or Sophie. And I think they make the right call in voting out MC. I agree completely with what Rizzo said in Confessional. He says that MC is more integral to that Hina alliance. If you cut MC, you are seriously weakening Steven specifically, who I see as the head of that group. So I think there's a chance that Hina just falls apart moving forward without MC around. If you cut Sophie, what are you really accomplishing? You're knocking out the most peripheral member of Hina and someone that has proven herself in challenges that other people want to vote out. Like, should Rizzo's back be up against the wall at some point down the line, Sophie is someone that he could push in front of himself. So I think for the 2 of them, they make the right call. Juwan is another story. I have no clue why Juwan decided to go through with the MC vote over the Sophie vote. Juwan learns in this episode that Sophie was willing to put down his name as a backup target. And MC is the one that brings that information to him. MC is trying to build that bond with him. Yet he flips on MC over Sophie? That makes no sense to me.
So let's tie all this in and just go to Tribal. Do you think going into Tribal, Juwan was going after Sophie?
I think going into Tribal, he was set on knocking out MC. I think the votes were locked already on MC at that point.
You think all the talking we see in this Tribal, all of the pull aside, all of the side conversations was nothing?
I don't think those changed the game at all. And that's because that's the moment where I think MC pulls Juwan aside first. And in her post-game press, she says that she was making her final plea to Juwan, basically saying, for me, this is outside the game. I want to continue working with you. I think she wanted to put the votes on Rizzo just to see if he didn't play the idol. And Juwan basically turned her down and said no. So that's what that entire saga was at Tribal Council. I'm assuming we're going to get some explanation for it next week.
Yeah. Okay, because I was going to say, I thought it was very interesting, having not seen the press, that we get a very long sales pitch from Sophie in Tribal.
Yes.
She gives her case, basically. It feels like how sometimes, especially in the new era, people get like a goodbye speech when it's pretty clear they're going home. She makes this long, I'll work with you, I'm an asset. And then all of these discussions happen. That put me in a headspace of like, oh, Sophie's played too big, right? Sophie has made this big case for herself. Sometimes that's a great time to just say, well, okay, bye.
And it's wild because Sophie's been invisible for like half the season. And now she's too out in front in a weird way. I appreciated that she did that, though. I feel like I've said this a bunch of times, but Tribal Council is like a sports game press conference where everyone's giving half answers. It's refreshing to see someone just lay the cards out on the table and say, it's going to be either me or MC tonight, and this is why you should keep me.
All right, let me ask you this, because we're getting close to the end here. You've seen all of that. You've seen the side conversations. You've seen it's me or MC. You are RIZGOD Rizgod baby. You hold on to your idol?
Knowing that the right move is holding on to the idol, I would do that. But I feel like if I was in his shoes in that position, even with Savannah there, I would probably just play it. I think me personally, I'm too conservative of a player to allow myself, potentially get knocked out there. But with that said, I love what Rizzo said in confessional this week. He said that for him, going out in 4th place is exactly the same as going out in 10th. Like, he's here to win the game. He's not playing for placement, which I really respect. So,
yes. Yeah, me too.
Your final vote here, it's a 4-1. 4 on MC, 1 on Sophie. Every vote piles on her. Savannah does not participate in this Tribal Council. And there is a chance that the other contestants will catch on to the fact that there was a vote missing. Because, theoretically, if 6 people are voting, Jeff would hold up the parchment and say, next person vote out, Survivor MC. He would say that at the 4th MC vote, because that would be the majority. Instead, he does it on the 3rd MC vote. I'll be interested to see if they actually put the pieces of the puzzle together and realize there was something missing in that Tribal Council. Savannah probably has some kind of advantage moving forward. I got my MC epitaph, if you're ready to hear it.
Hit me.
Let me see. It is RIP MC. Outclassed by a ghost. If we went into this episode and I knew nothing about Survivor 49 other than the edits of the pre-merge, I would say, looking at that tribe, and I actually predicted this on TikTok, I would say that Sophie is the one going home. She has had no content this season, whereas MC was actually a pivotal player of the early game. She was Survivor 49's challenge beast. I don't think she lost a single immunity challenge until the post-merge. Her tribes dominated that early section of the game. Yet when it came down to it, and it's MC versus Sophie, who wins that battle? It's the ghost.
Yeah.
It's Sophie. So there's my epitaph for MC. How did you feel? Was she on your fantasy team, or you were just a MC fan from afar?
I liked. Well, I honestly don't remember. I'm checking right now. I'm winning fantasy. Oh yeah, I've got Alex, Sage, and Christina. I'm doing great.
You have all 3?
Can I tell you, it's ridiculous how few points Sage has in drama/romance. Only 26. But
that feels low. Yeah.
but Christina's got 37 in the same category, as well as 10 in Idol. Abby had MC. Abby in second place is down to just Sophie. Oh my God, am I mathematically guaranteed to win the season at this point? Maybe not.
I don't think so. Christina's going out soon, so you'll be down to 2 people.
I'm the only one with all 3 players, though.
Yeah. I only have Sophie from the Yellow Tribe and RIZGOD.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was a fan of MC's. I mean, she had some good play. Tough edit, right? Tough edit. Being on the tribe that production doesn't seem to care about just makes for a hard time. It's such a hard thing because you, like, on one hand, production has to shape the narrative with the presentation of the season. But on the other hand, you hate to see somebody have, like, a couple of big moments on the island and then you just don't know them, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just don't get to know them, and they've put their life on hold to go out there, but that's just kind of the cost of doing business. And so, you know, sad to see her go. I don't think we'll see her back.
I agree with you. I think when I'm looking at returning player chances, the bar for me, in terms of the people who've been voted out so far, the bar is Jake. I think Jake right now, of the eliminated contestants, is number 1 to return. Just given the circumstances of his elimination. If you're not better than Jake, then you're not coming back. And I don't think MC crossed that bar.
I think that's fair.
We can hop into winners and losers then. I'm assuming we have the same winner here. So I'll let you have your moment if you want it.
Clyde.
I'm ready. Come on.
I'm sorry, I was just moved by the spirit of RIZGOD. Rizgod, baby. Rizgod is my winner.
He's also my winner. Really impressive episode from Rizgod. Yeah. I've said it before on the podcast, but I think the mark of a great Survivor player is not just your ability to play well when you're in control, but also scrape by when you're on the bottom. And this was a round where Rizgod was pushed into a bottom feeder position, partially through circumstances outside of his own control. I think if you have a traditional final 10 vote, he's not the top target. I think they go after Savannah over him. But instead, he's put into this group where everyone wants to knock him out, and he survives without even needing to play his idol. So I'm really impressed with the gameplay from Rizgod this week. He also learned about Savannah's extra vote moving forward. Knowledge is power in this game, Jack. And he knows where 2 out of the 4 advantages are this season. So I feel good about his chances long term. Who has played a better game than Rizgod so far? He's potentially played the best strategic game out of anybody out there. Actually, no. The Nate boot, I think, was too bad for him. I'd say probably someone like Steven played better, if it wasn't for the Nate boot. But out of the Uli contestants, I think he's one of the best.
Oh, I mean, I think Rizgod has played the best game that anybody's playing out in front. Steven's playing a good game in the middle, right? Sophie with an I has put herself in a really nice position in the middle. But Rizgod has been playing a bold but successful game. So, yeah, I agree with everything you said. Love where he's at. He's got the buffer of Savannah, right? She's got her vote, but she's also got all the hate, right? Nobody wants Rizzo to go home. Everybody likes him. People want Savannah to go home bad. And so that's really good for Rizzo because I asked you earlier, will he flip? Probably, if he has to. So, good stuff. Who's your loser?
Christina.
Okay, why is that?
Even though she acquired the idol this week, the fact that she is buried in the edit with that idol find is a major red flag for me. Plus, I think the game is shifting against the Hina Alliance just based on the edit and the loss of MC, and I could see Christina being the casualty of those shifting tides. So, I feel bad giving the loser to someone that, on paper, had a strong episode, but it's all the circumstances surrounding that idol that drop her in my personal rankings.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to feel like that set her up for success when the edit doesn't make it feel that way. Like, if this was going to be useful for her, we would have enjoyed it a little bit more with her, right?
For sure.
But, yeah. Oh, well.
How about you? Who's your loser?
Sage is my loser.
Oh, okay.
Because here's the thing. Sage has been playing a big game talking up a big game, anti-Savannah. The game done changed, and Savannah's back on top, right? With more assets than before. And, you know, when you are a critic of a regime and the regime comes back into power, you better get out of Dodge. And I think Sage is in trouble because of that. Jawan's a target as well. Sage is a target. Like, that little alliance, once the groups get back together, they're not really in with the Steven, Christina, Sophie, Alex thing. They're in a weak spot, but by being in the middle, they're also in a weak spot because people could just say, you know what, they're playing big, let's take them out.
They're in different groups, but they're on the periphery of every single one of those groups.
Yes. Yeah, well said.
And I don't know, I think when it comes to Sage, the edit this week really highlights the fact that she did not want to lose one of the Hina players. She wanted to go after Rizzo. So, should her game crumble in the future, this might be the episode that people look back to and say, that's the moment where things went wrong for Sage. So, dishonorable mention for me. And this is not a major Survivor 50 spoiler, but related to my personal Survivor 50 fantasy team. I'm giving my dishonorable mention to you, Jack, for this week. I'm sorry. I've talked about it before. But for our Survivor 50 fantasy draft, we each get to inherit one contestant that we drafted in a previous season. And for me, I think my options were Tiffany from 46, Emily from 45, and that might be it. I don't think there's anyone else that I drafted coming back from that season. My only other option is Rizgod, R-I-Z-G-O-D, baby, from 49. And after this episode, I feel by far the most confident in his game ability. He's going to be the one that I inherit for that draft. So if you were picturing yourself going into Survivor 50 with Rizgod on your fantasy team, you might as well give it up now, because I'm going to roll with him again.
I mean, fair enough. I don't get why that's dishonorable against me, but I'll take it. Like,
you would want to draft him on your team, right? So it's dishonorable in the fact that you're missing out on him.
I'm being deprived the chance to have Rizgod. Well, you drafted him first. You saw the potential. I think you just had a better draft pick than I did, because I wanted him to. But, you know, fair enough. Fair enough. May the best man win. I think I'm going to win 49 at this point.
Yeah, it'd be your second win. I still haven't won a single season.
You know, I mean, so goes to show who the true expert is. You know what I'm saying? But fair enough. My honorable mention goes to the concept of a calc.
Calc as in calculus?
Calc as in C-A-L-Q-U-E, a calc or loan translation. It's a word or phrase borrowed from another language via literal word-for-word translation. So I learned about this from reading about the executioner wasp, because that name came from the Latin name, which is, of course, as we both know, say it with me, Palistes carnifex. The executioner wasp is named that because carnifex means executioner or hangman in Latin. So it's a direct word for word, okay? Bear with me. So this is where you take something from another language and you bring it into your own language because it's easier than coming up with a new word yourself. So, for example, skyscraper from English has gone into a whole bunch of other languages where they call, in Italian, it's grattacielo, which means the same thing, right? Sky is cello, skyscraper. But rather than coming up with their own conceptual word for it, they take the English concept and just transliterate, okay? Another good example is rhinestones, right? The fake jewelry, fake gems. That's from the French River Rhine. It's from the French word for stones of the Rhine, okay?
Oh, okay.
So that concept, I was like, wow, I wonder how the concept of survivor was translated to other languages when they've done spin-offs in other languages, which they have attempted to do.
Yes,
right?
They've done Survivor Quebec. I know other international Survivor seasons, but I don't think they're in different languages. Quebec is the only one that I know is in French.
So they've done more than I thought. Actually, I have now found a list. So, this gets so much more interesting. I'm so glad I found this. A lot of the adaptations, a lot of them play on the concept of the Swiss Family Robinson for some reason.
Oh, yes. the original show that Survivor pulled from that came up with this entire idea, it was called Expedition Robinson. I think it came out in like the mid to late 90s.
Okay, well, this is less interesting then because they're all just called Expedition Robinson. But yeah, basically, I was just really interested in that concept of like transliteration. There is a Russian version called The Last Hero, which is pretty funny.
Do they play the game in Russia? I'd want to see that. A Winter Survivor I've never seen. I think it'd be an interesting watch. I doubt it, though. They definitely go to some tropical location.
It ran for 11 seasons. They had a season in 2024. 12 Russians. It's the first one they filmed locally on the shores of a lake. Grand prize of 5 million rubles. Later on, this is interesting, they added 2 intruders. Where at a certain point in the season, it starts with 12, and then they add 2 in later.
Just 2 contestants that get a free pass?
Yeah, they come in later and have to join the tribes when alliances have already formed.
Well, you know what that means, Jack? For Survivor 51, me and you.
Hey, Jeff.
The intruders.
Hey, Jeff, put us in at the Mergatory. Bring us into the game. Also, this is the most Russian thing I've ever seen. The tribe names are the wolves and the bears.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But anyway, so my honorable mention goes to the concept of transliteration, basically.
That's a good one. But that's everything for this week.
Yeah.
Next week, ideally, we get a normal vote at the final 9. I'll be super interested to see how all that works out, especially considering that the 3 players who are technically on the bottom, Rizzo, Savannah, Sophie, all have some kind of advantage. So there's a lot of possibilities on the board, and we'll see what happens.
See you next time.